once it reaches through, I can let you know. I think it only checks if a new message comes in every 10 minutes or so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought phone was confusing. I have Wi-Fi at home, so it picks up Wi-Fi first. Sometimes I forget to turn on.
When
my
was it
mobile.
reached?
Yeah,
I
but
think
it
it
was
only
on.
checks if a new. Perfect. Not yet. But if he does join, Laura can always move him in. And would one of the committee members listening in, could you just speak to make sure that our speakers are working?
Okay.
Hello.
Perfect.
Hello.
Thank you.
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you all.
Perfect. We had some issues yesterday, so it's good to know it's working today.
I think we're all
That was
connected.
pretty good.
I don't see Earl there.
I thought I saw.
Not yet. If he does join partway through the meeting, we'll just let him into the meeting room.
Good.
But otherwise, we are good to begin, and we have the live stream started. So if everyone else is ready, we can proceed.
Okay.
Good to go. Where am I?
If we're all ready, we'll admit Earl when he arrives. Good afternoon, everybody. I'll call the meeting to order. Please note that this meeting will be held virtually and available for public viewing on YouTube. As part of the public participation, if you have any questions regarding items on the agenda, please submit them by email at mail@ektwp.ca. Questions received prior to the meeting will be addressed during the public question period, which is limited to a 15-minute time period. Okay, first order of business is the adoption of agenda as presented. Move to accept the agenda.
I'll move.
Tim, and seconder, Eleanor, all in favor?
Cheers.
Opposed? Carried. Next item is disclosure of interest. Any pecuniary interest from any of the members?
None.
I see none. Okay, move along. Adoption of minutes as presented. Need to somebody to accept the minutes as presented.
I will.
Okay, I see Eleanor and seconder.
I'll second.
it.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, I have a very small screen for Township, but oh, there it is. Okay, did we see a seconder there?
Councilor Smith.
Okay, very good. All in agreement? In favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Item 4.1.
That's the minutes. 5. You're at 5.1.
5.1. Excuse me. So staff reports on there. Yes, report. 5.1, the report A-21-73 film industry, new regional initiatives. Turn that over to Allison.
Sure. So this is more for informational purposes for the proposal itself. It gives an overview of what the potential initiative is for the region, in particular for the Kingston area, but they are interested in branching out. One of the recommendations coming out of this report is for the committee to ask council for a letter of support about this initiative. There is no financial ask of the township or really any asks for staff's time or resource. It's really to have this organization ideally get additional support from the other levels of government and the ministries. And where that goes from there, we'll definitely bring it back to the committee as it advances. But the bare bones of it is if we are able to support their proposal.
Okay, lengthy report there, but very interesting. I guess first of all, I need to move to accept the report.
I'll move it.
Tim, and seconder.
Rob's waving.
I
his hand.
see Rob, yes. That picture is awful small on my screen, but I see you, Rob. Okay, any other comments from staff?
Sorry, could I just get clarification that the mover and seconder also supports the letter of support?
Yes.
Yes. Good.
Okay, so again, all in favor of this one?
All right.
It
All
could
right,
get
we go.
very exciting around here, Allison.
Yes.
Sorry?
I said it
Can
could
I-
get very exciting. We could all be famous.
Can I add something to it?
Sure.
Okay, I've had some experience kind of in this area. Local people, John Barkley has done a lot of work in filming. Vince, I forget Vince's name, but we did actually create a little movie on Puzzled by Home Care. And what was the other one? Chris Cochran, he's had quite a lot of experience doing different stuff like this. So anyway, we've got some real cool local talent. In Kingston, you've got Viva Productions. So there's lots of good filmmakers out there. So I may send a link around just some of the stuff I was involved in over time. So anyway, just some insight from myself personally. So
Good.
And,
I know Chris Cochran myself. He's well known across North America in many high profile events. So I agree with you, Tim. There's some really good homegrown talent here.
yeah.
And sorry, I can't remember if I wrote it within the report or not, but we have had a few filming instances in the township. We were asked before for permission for like a car chase scene, which council did support. We were also approached about someone interested in filming a music video. It involved a property not owned by the township, so we provided them the contact information as we were allowed to, so that person could approach the actual owner for permission. So whether that went anywhere, I don't know. The inquiry was pretty secretive and who the artist may be, but there has been some interest in the township, and ideally, if this proposal does get accepted by the higher levels of government, it may generate more interest.
Very good. Any further comments? Okay, we'll move along to 5.2, tourism sector update. Move to accept this report. Eleanor and seconder.
I'll second it.
Okay, see Tim. Yes, thank you. Allison, over to you.
This is essentially a continuation of some of the other survey results we have received. It just kind of gives a bit of a pulse of what potential travelers are feeling and thinking. Trends do seem to fluctuate a little bit. They tend to match a bit of what is happening with case-wise vaccination rates and media coverage. With the border opening at least in one direction, that had a result, and ideally when the border opens again in the other direction, we'll see the numbers start to change some more in comfort levels and what people are interested in doing when they travel.
Excuse me.
Eleanor, comment?
Allison, did I miss it in here or did they tell us how many people were actually answered the survey?
I don't believe they had hard numbers.
Okay.
It depends on each individual survey might have different respondents. I do know in some instance, the number of respondents was on the decline, which is why I'm assuming one of the surveys that used to be done on a weekly basis stopped, just because the results weren't really a true representation. I can definitely look at their actual the actual survey reports again to see if they do indicate how many participants there were. And if that information is available, I can pass that on to the committee members.
Good. Rob, go ahead.
Just commenting on Councillor Renault regards to responses. I think if you look at the American Survey paragraph, it says that it resulted in over 1,000 responses between July the 9th and the 12th of 2021. So that's the only information that I can see as far as responses.
Very
Thanks,
good.
Rob.
Okay.
Any further comments? I see none. Move to accept this report.
I'll move it.
Tim, and seconder.
Guy on the end.
Use your baton there, Bill. Bill's second.
Bill, I see Bill. Yeah. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? None. Motion
Any opposed?
carried. Okay. 5.3 is the report is the budget discussion. So we will move to accept the report on budget discussion. And should we discuss it first? Okay, I see Rob there, and then I need a seconder.
I'll second.
Eleanor. Okay. And okay, over to you, Allison.
Thank you. Essentially, this is our staff are beginning to plan for the 2022 budget. So there's information within the report of what items are somewhat in process and where it may go next year, as well as just some general information about some of the other budget lines. In essence, right now, I'm essentially proposing a very similar budget with an increase towards the sign replacement, just because those costs have gone up. Ideally, since this is a project that every year we tend to do just a couple of signs each time, if we do increase it, we may be able to finish everything next year, and then we can kind of move on to the next project. So if that is of any interest to the committee. The other, I guess, new item that would have some costs associated would be the potential gift baskets. That wouldn't necessarily have a significant impact to the budget, because we would just, it is of a fairly nominal amount in the grand scheme of things. And again, the scholarship, which again, we would just not have it as its own budget line, but we would just have it incorporated in there as well. So relatively unchanged, but this is essentially the committee's opportunity if there's anything else that they wish us to potentially explore for next year.
Go ahead, Rob.
Thank you, Chair. So just a comment in regards to the signs. So when we are replacing the blue hamlet signs and hamlets that are only have the blue one. Are you gonna, to staff, are you gonna bring back a sample or samples? Or are we just going straight with the regular blue with white lettering? Or are we putting the township logo on these signs? It may just, by doing that, it may spruce up some of the smaller hamlets. As you stated in here, Lynn and Toledo, the communities purchased and put those up, which are big, vibrant, colorful. And I think for other little hamlets like Tin Cap, New Dublin, Spring Valley, if we had the blue one, that's fine, but I think if we had the logo incorporated somewhere, it might give a little bit different flair.
So for staff perspective, we were thinking of keeping it the basic blue background, white lettering. However, if the committee is interested in, I guess, enhanced signs that have logo or a little more of a local aspect to it, and then we can definitely, staff can definitely relook at our hamlet bylaw or sign bylaw to see first if it still is applicable or if there's room for changes, and then that would go to council for their decision. So if the committee does want something with a little more visual aspect to it, we can definitely explore that by reviewing our existing bylaw.
I would agree with Rob. I think that would dress it up a little bit and add a little more thing, and it draws everything together. Everybody would be included. I'm not sure that was included in the report. Are the hamlet signs going to be metal as the township signs are wood? Is that correct?
The new signs that we are currently replacing, the new boundary signs are metal.
They're all metal.
They're just much more durable. So the hamlet signs would most likely would be metal as well.
Okay.
It has more cost savings and longevity. And since it's not necessarily a hamlet community endeavor, we would want to, for lack of better words, go with a cheaper, quicker option, since it would be the township involvement in it versus the community members themselves.
Good. Okay. Do we have to put a motion or an agreement on what we'd like to see, or how do we put this request forward?
I won't need a motion. I just made a note for staff to look into our existing bylaw. And then we can always come back with potential solutions for the committee on which direction they want to go. In the bare bones, it sounds like there is interest in getting new hamlet signs. How exactly they look can be determined later on.
Okay. Good. Bill?
I just have one comment. Having driven around the area quite a bit, sometimes it's hard to distinguish these hamlet signs, whether they're part of what township they are, as you see them when you go out of the township. And Athens itself is a township by itself, so it's hard to figure out whether that's part of Elizabethtown-Kitley sometimes, to the layman, I think, but they have made it clear that it isn't. But I don't know what happens in reverse. You know, when you leave Athens, I don't think there's any sign saying that now you're entering Elizabethtown-Kitley. So it's sometimes this boundary is obscure. And similarly with all these hamlets, is that if there was a little more information saying, yes, you're in part of Elizabethtown-Kitley, it would seem to me make some sense to identify that, because they're not individual entities in themselves, right? They're part of Elizabethtown-Kitley, where Athens isn't. So that's the distinction in my mind. My thought.
Yeah, I think that sort of ties in with Rob's point too, about having some kind of identification. So
perhaps a logo, or
yeah,
versus the name. It's a long name.
yeah, I think if we perhaps see some signs or with staff's recommendation might help. Eleanor?
Yeah, if you pay attention driving through Rideau Lakes, you will notice all their hamlet signs are similar. their colors and everything match their township sign. So you have the loon on it. You've got their logo on it. Yeah, I mean, looking at the signs you have in the picture here, the New Dublin one is in terrible shape. The Greenbush one looks like it's on the ground. But yeah, they're pretty crappy looking signs. And even if you look at our border signs, they're green and supposed to be green and white. Some of them are getting kind of faded. Maybe our sign should be green instead of blue, but I think that Tim's right. The logo, even just our logo, not even the words, just the shape of that leaf on there would let you know you were in Elizabethtown-Kitley. The logo itself tells you, I mean, yeah, putting Elizabethtown-Kitley on the sign, you'd have to have a huge sign. So just the logo may work, but if you just take a look at the ones in Rideau Lakes, and they're all the same. I don't know if the other townships did something similar or not.
Just a thought on the logo. You could have it as like a sticker that you could literally put on. And if you change your logo, you could scrape it off later. And if they're a metal sign, you know, it would provide a bit of longevity to it and give us some options for future brand changes if necessary. And then you could literally put them on all of them. That way you've got that consistency right away, you know.
Yeah, good point, Tim.
If I can add in, so Front of Young is one that's maybe the best middle ground for us. But again, staff will come back with some different options because they have basically their hamlet signs, and they do have a little logo on it. They're not as elaborate as the hamlet signs like in Lynn and Toledo now, which were raised by community funds. So that might be a bit of a middle ground. So it is quite similar to what Councilor Renault was proposing. And then just for additional information, those two boundary signs that were included with this report, those are the two that are going to be replaced very shortly. The sign company has already been out and have done their measurements, so have ordered it. So those should be replaced before the snow starts falling, and then we can move on to the few others that are still outstanding with the older design, older wooden design, and then ideally the new ones that the new locations the committee was interested in a year or two ago on some of those main roadways.
Yeah. Bill?
How much does one of the Elizabethtown more elaborate signs cost? Just approximately, no idea.
I believe it was around $800 for it, which was a bit of an increase compared to the last time we ordered some signs. Just like everything else, costs are going up. That cost may rise a little bit depending on how easy the existing sign is to remove. I know a few years ago they had to come in with specialized tools like grinders and things like that. That's how old the sign was, where everything either rusted over or fused together, so they weren't able to get them off using typical hand tools.
Is that $800 supply and installed?
Yes, yeah. For the sign and the installation, if everything is straightforward.
I'm sure the Greenbush sign is a lot less.
It would be a lot less. I think the 4 Greenbush signs are all different sizes. So again, with the hamlet proposal, there'd be more uniformity across the township, which is lacking right now.
That would be important, possibly important to say this is a hamlet of Elizabethtown. Explanation, I guess.
Good. Any further comments around? Just a question. I noticed that as these signs are being replaced, they have the signs about COVID-19 on all of them. And are they going to be continued, left up there, changed? I know we're still in the middle of it, but it's one of those things that it's been there for so long, nobody reads it anymore. I mean, we all understand what's there. My question is it going to continue or is it going to be changed?
Those signs are temporary. They're backed onto plywood. So we bought them with the intention that these are going to be short-lived, ideally shorter lived than what they have been. But once the township's emergency group decides that, yes, it's time for the signs to be removed, then our public works staff will go around and remove them all. So they'll be up there for a bit longer until that decision is made.
Understand. Okay. Good. Any further comments, questions? I don't see any there. Okay. So we have to move around to other business. 6.1.
Oh, sorry, if I can just have the committee is in support of the budget discussion.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yes.
I'll move to support that.
Okay, there's your support, and I see Rob seconding.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Okay. Now we can move along to 6.1. The letters from the Tourism Industry Association. Allison?
Oh, the township received a request asking for letters of support for additional funding. For the higher levels of government to provide additional funding or support towards the tourism industry. There have been some newer announcements or extended funding opportunities that have arrived since this letter was sent over to us. Essentially, I'm just interested if the committee wishes to ask council to provide a letter of support similar to the sample letter that was provided to us, or not.
Rob?
I say yes, that this committee directs staff to support, directs council to support the, get back here now. I'll call it TIAO initiative. We do have a lot of tourism activities in our area, so I think it's great to support that and get the province to provide funding.
Good. Any additional comments? Eleanor?
Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, I would support that motion, second that motion that Rob just put forward. It's not just the tourism industry that is lacking in staff, though. It is also all of the service industry is desperate for workers. I've even heard that the building sector, electricians, plumbers, carpenters are also in short supply, which I don't understand. Where did they go? But restaurants and that are desperate for people.
Rob?
I don't disagree with Councillor Renaud. Every sector is out there crying for workers. When you have a Tim Hortons or McDonald's having big signs out front of their building saying we're hiring, that tells you something. So I don't disagree with that. It's just that this is directed to the tourism industry, this letter, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would agree. All industries, try and get a roofer these days to get some work done before winter. It's just not possible. They can't get the workers. It seems to be in every sector of the economy pretty much.
But this sector can't go through another year the way it has the last 2 years. It'll just be gone, and we rely on that industry in this area.
Good. If there's any further comments from anybody looking around the table? No? Okay,
Yeah.
so move to accept the comments in the report.
And the motion, you've got to have a vote on the
Motion
motion.
to accept, yes. Eleanor's put forward a motion, so I guess we move to.
Oh,
Am I doing it?
sorry, I have the, sorry, I have the mover and seconder, and send, or in essence, asking council to have a letter of support. So I just need a consensus from the rest of the committee.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm good with it.
There.
Yes.
We're all good. Okay, and no dissenters. Okay, motion carried. Okay, I guess that moves us along to informational items. Various conferences there, 7.1 Ontario East Municipal Conference. Oh, sorry,
Or-
Rob, go ahead.
6.2, real estate services of the
Oh,
business.
sorry. I skipped over that, yes. Okay. We need a motion to, or move to accept this report.
Oh, this is one of the rare instances where we don't need a mover or seconder.
Okay, good.
It's
Goes under
just
other business.
to provide an update to the committee.
Okay, I'll let you go, Allison. Go ahead.
If the committee remembers, quite some time ago, staff were directed to create a request for proposal for a real estate professional to assist with the business park. That did get issued and was relatively recently accepted by council, who awarded the proposal to CBRE. Their company essentially based out in Ottawa, but they do have different offices throughout. The company does have experience working within Elizabethtown-Kitley, working with governments, which played in the part in their selection. I have had a meeting with them already to go over some plans and ideal objectives. They have a lot of the information that we have available here in our office, so they can create their own marketing packaging and get the word out on their platforms that the township or the average person doesn't have access to. I will be meeting with them again next week to go over some final details, but everything should be being launched relatively soon on their platforms. And we'll have access to all of their marketing packaging as well, which will result in at least one of our web pages to be updated based on the new information their experts, their marketing experts have been able to formulate for us. And the other thing was, I believe at our previous meeting, we discussed having sold messaging added to the business park layout plan. So those have been added. I definitely noticed them, but I know they're there because I put them up. But ideally that will just, I know some cars were slowing down when, I'm up on the ladder and everything. So people definitely know something's happening in there, as well as the road expansion within the business park that has apparently just started as well. So things are definitely progressing in the business park, especially now that we have a real estate professional on our side assisting us.
Excellent. Any further comments?
A question, who is the real estate professional?
CBRE is the company.
Oh, okay, okay.
The individual in particular, his name is, I'm going to pronounce the last name wrong, but Eric Valardo is our direct point person.
Okay.
But CBRE is the company.
Could his contact information be sent to committee members, just so we have it on file?
I can definitely see
Okay,
about that, as well as once more information becomes finalized, I can circulate back to the members at the same time.
okay, thank you.
Any further questions from anybody? Eleanor?
Just wondered exactly how many acres are left, not lots, but how many acres are left in the park, not sold?
I forget off the top of my head. be honest. I would have to go back in some of my emails for the last time I told our representative what amount was estimated to be left.
Okay,
Yeah, unfortunately, I just don't know off the top of my head.
okay, thank you.
Would you consider it to be half sold? Looked like from the
It's-
signs I saw, it looked like, a rough guess that there's half covered by the sold part.
So the business park is considered broken into two sections. So there is a phase one, which is the section that has been well developed. And phase two is the one that was mainly comprised of vacant lots. And approximately half of them have been sold. Lot 7, which is the one that fronts onto County Road 29, that one is sometimes considered, sometimes not, because the township wants to hang on to it for an ideal business. One that is just because of its visibility, so we're being a bit more selective when people express interest in that lot. There's also a bit of a creek or waterway that crosses through that lot, which plays a part as well, because ideally we wouldn't have a business that has potential involvement with chemicals or things of that nature that may compromise the nearby water. So the numbers may change a little bit depending on if you consider lot 7 or lot 7 among the other vacant ones or not. But you're right, about half of them have sold very recently.
The total was 40 acres. Wasn't it, I think?
Again, I can't remember. It's,
I don't know.
yeah.
Okay, any further comments before we move along? The rest is just informational items, I guess. Ellison, information on the OEMC session.
oh. So if the committee wants, we can go through these on a case-by-case basis or all at once. Essentially, just bringing them forward to the committee if anyone is interested in attending the Ontario East Municipal Conference virtually, then we can register them for that. And the same applies for the other upcoming webinars or conferences, things of that nature. If anyone is interested, we can sign them up. I will add, just this afternoon, I did get information about another networking event or gathering from Approved Professionals. So I will be sending that out to all of the committee members tomorrow, just in case, again, if anyone is interested in attending, Laura or myself can register you to attend.
Okay. Yeah, we have all the dates and everything there, unless there was anything specific. Okay. So does anybody have any questions on any of those informational sessions? I see nothing.
So either Laura or myself will follow up
Okay.
with some of these items a bit closer to the date. In particular, the Lee Scramble Economic Development Summit. That's one that is typically held in North Rental, but was virtual last year and will be virtual again this year. Just because that's our local one. But again, if at any time any committee member is interested in attending any of these, we'll sign you up.
Okay.
And what's the cost, what's the cost of the Leeds and Grenville one?
It typically is $20 or $25.
Okay, that's not bad. And what about the Eastern Municipal
Ontario
Conference?
East. That depends on
Ontario
how many.
East, yeah.
That depends on how many days you wish to attend. They have, you can sign up for just a single day or for the whole program. But we are members, so we do get a little bit of a discount for regardless of what enrollment we may choose.
And that is virtual, right?
Yes, I believe the only one that may be in person is the Ontario Tourism Summit. I believe everyone else is virtual.
7.1 said that fully vaccinated to a certain level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm wrong. That tourism summit looks like it's a combination. So you're able to participate in person or virtually.
That's okay. I missed the virtual on that as well until you go down to the agenda. I was just reading the,
I know I'll be interested in going to the Leeds Grenville one. As in the past, I always enjoy that. So I'll confirm all that with you, Allison.
Perfect.
myself as well, Allison, on the Leeds and Grenville one.
And,
I just gotta double check that date.
and Laura wishes to jump in.
Well, I just looked it up for Councilor Renault, a full virtual conference for the Ontario Municipal East is 250, and then the one day is 125.
The Economic Summit, that's when it's normally held in Kempville?
Yes,
Okay, and that is virtual this year.
yes.
Is there a cost for virtual?
I believe there still is one. Even though they're not paying for our meals, there is significant work that is involved. They do bring in essentially professionals to run it.
Okay, good. Can you put me down for that one, Allison, also? Thank you.
So I will start some registrations soon, and as I mentioned, I'll follow up with emails a bit closer to each of these dates as a bit of a last call, should anyone wish to jump at the opportunity.
Okay,
Allison, don't sign me up just yet, because I've got to double check. I do have something in my calendar, but I have to double check that it's actually happening. Okay, so don't sign me up for the Leeds and Grenville one yet until I double check this other one out.
if there are no other questions or comments, I guess, any public questions, Allison, been submitted?
If there were no questions from the public.
Okay. No questions there. So I guess this leads us into the closed meeting portion.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yes, so we will be stopping the live stream in just a moment, just so the committee can discuss the four nominees that were received. And basically keep whoever the winner is